All right. How you doing? Hope you're having a lovely day so far, and I really appreciate you being here and checking out a conversation with Ajay Friese. I have known this young man since he was 12 years old. We will get into that in our discussion and conversation. But I wish to give you a warning, in that sadly, right after our chat had finished, my computer said no. Not sure if anyone out there listens to Little Britain. Computer said no. And I probably should click out of that voice. What that means is in rescuing the file, my audio, myself, hi, I'm John, by the way, she probably, has what appears a crackling sound every now and again, maybe 35-40% of the time. So I thank you in advance for putting up with that, but I didn't want to change anything. I believe in what happens in the moment happens for a reason. But you need to know, because transparency is key, that's why my audio is dodgy here and there. And that's why there's also the odd jump, because literally the computer said no and threw away the visual and audio of what would have been in the middle of that part of the conversation. If that makes sense, either way, thank you again for being here. This young man is so passionate. Here's our conversation. Guesstimate around 5 years ago that you started to share bits and bobs and linked this and that. And that's what's so interesting now to get to this stage with Jasper, is that there's something out there. It's tangible. It exists. It's not hidden in your little locker of creations anymore. How does that feel?
Feels really good. I recorded this song like a year and a half ago, along with 9 others in New York City. And I put everything I had into writing it and creating it and getting all the instruments sounding just the way I wanted them and everything. And then I was left with this product and I'm like, wow, now I didn't realize, but I'm 50% of the way there. The other 50% is releasing it. And I felt a big pressure there. You know, I wanted to release it the right way. And, 100 amazing albums come out every day that no one ever hears, I'm sure. And so I just wanted to release it the right way, but I knew nothing about the business side of music. So it took a bit to find the right management and get the right strategies in place. But it finally happened. And then it's kind of like, wow, I feel like I could have done this sooner had I known the things I know now about releasing music. But it's really good, really, really exciting to have something out there. So like I saw my Spotify artist app that I've been added to like 100 people have added me to like their personal playlists. And that means so much. I don't know. That's just like the best feeling that people are enjoying my music. So it feels really, really good. And I'm excited to release some new songs pretty soon too.
So if at Rifflandia all those years ago, the likes of Mother Mother and City and Colour and Head and Heart, which I think they stand out tenfold when listening to Jasper, if they inspired the starting of guitar and writing, what was your earliest musical memory, period?
I mean, my parents, I don't remember this, but my parents say that my first sentence I ever said was my sister's name, which is Amisha. I said, Misha bowing, people clapping. And she was when she was 4 and I was 1, she was on the national Broadway tour of the musical Miss Saigon, who's by the same writers as Les Miserables and has like the most incredible music in it. Yeah. And I said that one day at the curtain call when my parents brought me out. So that grand kind of symphonic musical theater, very emotional music probably inspired something in me. And the first thing I ever remember wanting to be when I grew up was a symphony conductor. And it was probably when I was about 3, and I would walk around the house with 2 chopsticks because I didn't know that a conductor only had 1 baton, and I would just tend to conduct. And I started violin when I was 3. I've always, just because I wanted to, like my parents didn't put me in it. I think they just asked me like, do you want to learn an instrument? For some reason I said violin. And so music's always been like extremely, I don't know. Music's always been a really big part of me ever since I can remember, ever since I was a baby. And I don't know why. It's a big part of my dad too. And my mom loves singing, and she's always singing random songs that she's making up on the spot in the kitchen. And so there's probably some genetic stuff there. Yeah.
Have you found yourself, if you've got 9 people that you said earlier, are there 9 strands to you that and life is lived experience. So the things you wish you knew earlier, you didn't know until you went through it and grew from it. So what are the offshoots and the strands of Ajay and your journey to this point in releasing Jasper?
I mean, I think one of the biggest strands is me as a songwriter, which kind of started when I was 12. As I said, after Rifflandia, I went to an eco lodge in Costa Rica with my family, and there was no electricity, no internet service or anything, and it was raining the whole time, but it was incredibly beautiful. And I would just lay in this hammock, and I had a notebook, and I just started writing all these songs, and I wrote like 4 or 5 songs in 2 days, and then I came home, and my dad's friend Bruce Seifert taught me the bridge of all these things that I've done by the Killers. You know, I got soul, but I'm not a soldier, which teaches you like 3 of the 4 chords that you kind of need to know for the guitar.
Yeah.
And I took those chords and I realized that all these songs I had written, it was really easy to put chords to them. And then, so that kind of started my songwriting, singer-songwriter journey. Big inspiration for that would probably be City in Color, Dallas Green. And other strands, I mean, you don't necessarily hear it a ton on Jasper, but on my other work, you will. There's lots of like melodic instrumentation, and that probably came from my classical background with violin, as well as my musical theater background. And I mean, Jasper is interesting because Jasper is such a set like kind of genre of music. But if you listen to my other music, there's that hasn't come out yet. There's going to be a lot of different kind of sounds and a lot of different types of genres, and I think those are all kind of inspired by different musicians that I've really been a fan of, and just kind of my curiosity of wanting to be all sorts of things. I think in life, like I've never dressed all a certain way. I've never been into all a certain genre of music or really anything. I've always been a very eclectic person, and one day I'll dress in like baggy hip hop clothes, and the next day I'll dress in like a wool cardigan and some stuff,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, I think, and all that I think are genuine parts of my character. And if you look at my Spotify, I mean, what I'm listening to, it's all different genres and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I've never really felt the need to define myself in certain categories, though I don't feel lost at all. I feel like I have a really good sense of my identity, but I just feel like I go to lots of different areas for that.
I became aware of the Ken Lewis streams because of the wonderful things that he said about you, and that when I saw that sample that you shared on your Instagram, I was like, this is genuinely fascinating, because I've heard so many samples from you over the years, because you've been so generous in saying what do you reckon of this and what do you think of that, and you and your dad have been so warm and supportive of what I've done over the years. And the song that Ken shared is nothing like Jasper, and people can access that through your Instagram, and you'll say and share what you want to. But what fascinates me about that, this is so diverse, man, that how do you even prepare yourself in discussion with the team for the rollout and what might come your way? How do you stay grounded in the middle of trying to put your art out?
I mean, I think it's something I'm really excited. I'm really excited to kind of show people how multidimensional I can be as an artist. It's also a little, I'm kind of nervous for it because I'm not quite sure how people respond, and I know that I will confuse some listeners. And I mean, there's tons of people I've listened to as artists who I've only heard one of their songs, you know, and then there's other people who I've gone through their whole discography. And so, you know, there's bound to be people out there who only hear one of my songs and one taste of me as an artist, and that's great even. But to the people who do want to listen to my whole discography, I hope they grasp onto some sort of subconscious thing that links all the art. And I think a big part of that will come through. I write my own lyrics, and I even when I'm telling stories that aren't necessarily true, there's a layer of honesty in the way I deliver the words and the way I say things. And I think hopefully if once I have a lot of stuff out, hopefully you could listen to my discography of all these different kinds of sounds and stuff and be able to still feel like you know me and be able to hear one of my songs and be like, yeah, this is Ajay Friese. So I'm hoping I can accomplish that. And what do my team think about it? I think um, they are thinking about how to strategically, you know, kind of reveal that to the world. And I think we went with Jasper because it's we can go a lot of directions with it. It's not too defining and it's very palatable as a first single. Um, and then I think probably what we'll release next is a bit of a leap on a vocal spectrum to showing a whole other kind of part of my voice, and that will hopefully inform people that you know there's some breadth here. We're not quite sure what we're going to hear next, but I think it's something we have to be strategic about. But ultimately, I just want and feel like right now I have a team that understands me and what I want to do as an artist and who I want to be. Yeah.
I like to dive into detail and go into multiple layers, whether it's the lyrics, the vocal, the backing vocal, the guitar, the second guitar, the drum. Every layer I go through time after time. I listen to a song like I have with, which we should probably get into the details of Jasper now. I've listened to it like 40, 50 times, and I note down things every other time. I try and sit with you in the E30. I try and figure out, is he talking about Chris Martin because it's a Coldplay reference, or is he talking about Chris that's driving the E30? Does he know Chris Martin? Does Chris Martin own an E30? I analyze things to an exhaustive extent, and so I'm so intrigued to play that puzzle, play that game of figuring out where you're going. So my question being, before we get lost in me talking a lot, which I do very well, is, are you a theme person?
That means a lot. Am I a theme person? Definitely for this song, I tried to go with a certain theme in its release and everything, and I try to. The song is the theme, and once that inspires different things, I try to kind of keep it to that theme. I think, but overall, I mean, I'm not really sure when I'm gonna release a full album. And I'm not even really thinking.
Do you think you need to?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna drop different singles, and I probably stick to themes for those singles, but I don't think those themes necessarily have to tie in with one another.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think my next single has to have similarly graphically designed artwork. In fact, I think maybe it should have entirely different graphically designed artwork. You know, and in the future, I'm sure I'll kind of release EPs and stuff where the songs kind of all fit together more in different ways, or maybe I won't. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I like when I'm going with one thing, like the song. I like pursuing the theme. I like pushing that kind of one aesthetic that the song creates in one theme. For sure, but I'm not tied to one as an artist, you know.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And also that means so much what you said about listening to the song and thinking about the lyrics and everything. And yeah.
Oh, I analyze the shit out of everything. Myself, you, what you make, what anyone sends me. It doesn't just get a 30-second listen and then we move on, because there's an energy that's put into that, right? Yeah. I know for the bulk of this interview, it looks like I'm looking down because I'm looking at you on the screen, and that's perfect because the TV, technically you are down here in the setup of this. But if someone's not just making something, even if they say, oh, I'm just making it for the hell of it, there's souls in it. I like to try and connect into the middle of it. So what's fascinating about your answer is, from my opinion, I don't think you need EPs. I don't think you need records. If you're going thematically, song to song, creation to creation, those are mini novellas. They're mini stories. They're mini parts of your life, and they don't always combine with the next steps. And my microphone's down. It doesn't work like that. So I love that answer because, and also just to tack on to when you said maybe, I just go with your gut. You know, you will decide, and in converse with your parents who are wonderful, and your team that I don't know, but I'm sure are wonderful from how you describe them. You've got to go with that gut instinct. And that's what I try and get to when listening to a song. where did this come from? So let's dive into Jasper then, and you will share what you want to share. But is there an E30? Is there a lover or a friend or a dear heart that you were going and traveling to and fro? Are you in Jasper now? Do you even like Jasper? What do you want to share about it?
Well, the song is about a relationship I had, and it's the song. You know, the first lines of the song are a memory of one of the first nights seeing this person, and I was driving up to see them with my friend Chris in his E30, and actually today, I can't believe this, but today you sang Chris Martin in Coldplay is the first time I've ever linked Chris with Coldplay, even though they're a line apart from each other. And
Well, there you go.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Was
for
the
pointing that out.
E30 the classic silver grey, or what E30 was Chris
black.
Rock? Oh, okay, I like it.
Yeah, and later on that night, it was a full moon, and I was staring up at the moon, and I had been heartbroken, I think, for a while, but for the first time in a while, I was kind of, it's like my heart is in two and both pieces belong to you. It's like a happy song about a brokenhearted person who finds someone, and then through the love and fulfillment of that, their heart almost, like their heart repairs. So it's kind of about that, what happens when your brokenhearted self meets someone new, and then the love from that and the joy of loving them makes your heart full again, which I think is an experience that a lot of people can hopefully or maybe relate to. It's kind of what the song is about.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. No, it's a big thing that's become part of my vocabulary and arsenal in that regard, if I can even say. I don't know if that sentence even quite fits grammatically, but life is lived experience. And I've been saying that tenfold since the start of this pandemic and leaving the corporate career that I was in and starting this venture with What Was That, is life is lived experience. And what it's shown me is an awful lot of self-work that still needs to be done, even at 33, having gone through an awful lot of stuff, all on unique adventures and journeys. And the way that I feel about broadcasting and radio is that of a lover. It's everything. It must be respected. It must be cherished. It must be met with compassion. And you must be able, as much as I talk a lot, you've got to be able to listen a lot too. And so I've been trying to build my own version of that. And you don't get to where you are in the current moment without what came before it. And so you're sat down with someone staring at the moon, from what I'm picking up, developing feelings for someone, but yet maybe haunted by the past as to, is this a situation I want to put myself back into again? And you did.
The line right after that is, my heart's being pulled and my body's in cue. My body's following it. So it's just saying, I can feel like I'm brokenhearted, but I can feel my heart being pulled. And I can feel this new feeling, and I'm just trusting it, and I'm putting my body behind it, and my body's following. I'm deciding to follow my heart, essentially. So, yeah.
And so then once...
And there actually...
Go on.
We were listening to Coldplay in the car, and I was talking to Chris a few nights ago. I think it was maybe the day after Jasper came out, and I was like, if we hadn't have listened to Coldplay, we had just picked some other album or some other artist to listen to, then a different song would have been created. And I think that's so cool. I love listening to music like I'm watching a movie. Like, I love just experiencing music. Like, I'm the kind of person who, like, if you're down with it, I'm so down to, like, turn off all the lights and candles and just, like, listen to a song or just fully experience it. And and I love when other people can do that too, because there's so much to appreciate that we haven't yet appreciated about all music. And I feel like I can appreciate all music, honestly, even if songs I don't really like, I can appreciate them.
You spent all these years with performing. How do you find that the acting side of you builds into the singer-songwriter and a musician side of you?
I think the magnitude of the roles in acting that I've been fortunate enough to get instilled a lot of responsibility in me that helped me create kind of music that I feel like is quality enough to share publicly with the world. And I'm not sure I would necessarily have that had I not done kind of higher profile, more intense, more intimidating acting jobs. Um, so I'm really thankful for that. Also, when I'm in the recording booth and I'm trying to get into the emotion of a song, I go to the same place that I go to when I'm acting. I try to sing every line like I mean it, like I'm feeling it. Um, and so acting's definitely good practice for that. So I'm not just singing the song. I'm kind of, really trying to live the song as I'm performing it, so that hopefully listening to it, you feel that. And then also just from a logistical standpoint, I mean, I'm so lucky to be a working actor with my music, because it provides me with funding for my music, and it provides me with an audience to, like, on social media and stuff, to release my music too. And that is so valuable and lucky. And I mean, I know so many incredibly talented musicians who have been doing it for years and years, and they have a few thousand followers online. And I know it can be so difficult to get followers online. So the acting definitely has helped a lot with that as well, which I'm really, really fortunate for. Um, yeah. And yeah, but also I go to that same place when I'm in the recording booth. Performing music in a way is acting, especially when it's emotional music.
Have you ever been in the booth and you're recording and you found that maybe you've dived so deep into a role that you've lost sight of who you are, having written the song, from previous experiences?
Sometimes, I mean, I don't write all my songs off of lived experiences, but I write a fair amount of them off of that. But sometimes it's about, someone else's lived experience or
Right.
one of my friends. But often when I write the song, I'm feeling the emotion a lot more raw, and then sometimes I'm in the booth and my life has changed, or I'm not in that same place I am, for better or for worse. And sometimes that can be frustrating, or I try to go back there. Sometimes I don't want to go back there. Um, but sometimes I think of it like I'm not, sometimes if I can't put myself in that spot anymore, like it's presently happening to me, I'm like, okay, a song about, this is a song of someone singing about this happening to them after it's happened to them. This is a song, me, on today's date, whatever day it is, I'm in the booth and I'm singing about this place I used to be in. I don't have to put myself back in that place. I just had to sing about that place. And maybe that's what the song is. Or if I'm singing about a relationship from my past, I don't have to necessarily put myself back into that relationship feeling. I can think, this is me present day with everything that's happened and where I am now, but then singing about this memory.
You see, that's fascinating to me too, because there are no wrong answers here, just to be clear. But I've spoken with performers that are like, I have to get back into that argument. I have to get back into that breakup or that amazing candlelit dinner night. And then there are others that will say, yeah, I've been there, done that, lived through it, know enough to get the emotion I want out. So I find that fascinating. Where do you plan, as we approach into the last few minutes here? I appreciate your time, man, tenfold.
I really appreciate it.
And your dad's good. He sent me an email the other day.
He is good. He is good. We're all good.
What do you want this to blossom into?
I mean, my goal as a musical artist is to be able to play shows to a few hundred people that know the lyrics to my songs. You know, if I can, if in 4 or 5 years I can be playing, even 3 or 5 years I can be playing like big rooms. You know, I don't need to be playing arenas or anything. I don't even need to be playing theaters or anything. Like, not that, just like rooms, you know, with a few hundred people singing the lyrics to my songs would be like that would be just, if that's all it ever becomes, I'm so happy. Like that would be so special. And in terms of like all my different styles of music and stuff and my theater background, I honestly think it would be cool if I made it a bit of a spectacle with like set changes and lighting changes, and I acted out the songs, and there was maybe different costumes and stuff. Not like a huge thing, but just like, you know, having the people experience that song and remember, oh, that time, that part of the concert where he did that, and the moon was hanging from the rope and all that stuff. Like that part was so cool. Yeah. I would love to perform with a big band on stage, like 8 or 9 people, horns, strings, you know, everything. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, if I'm playing to a crowd of 15 people and there's 5 people who are singing along to my songs and know the lyrics, that's just so cool. Like, if people know the lyrics to my songs, that's my goal.
Well, I really love hearing that a lot, because I think, and I'll speak for myself here, throughout the 20 years I've been doing whatever you want to call this, in terms of trying to build towards it. I'm counting the years as a kid too, the years of sending in demos when I was 13, 14, 15. And so yours, you know, you may be 22, but this is 10, 12, 13 years, 15 years of growing to this point. And I know in my past that I've lost sight of why I'm actually doing something. I believe in community, in transparency, in compassion and respect. I'm a musicologist. I care deeply about people and their art. I care deeply about communities. And that was amazing from being in corporate radio for the last 10 years. But in doing what was that, and I'll speak for myself, it was a big ego check, because you're not going to have the 50,000 people follow from the FM dial to an online portal. But what I've learned an awful lot in just this month alone of 2021 is that the what was that community. I mean, this is 1,000 people that you'd think were 50,000 people, because they're with you, they're in it, and they're there for a reason. And what I love about what you said, and not to throw around, love and hate get thrown around real easy. It just means I don't like, or I don't like, or I do like, or I do. Love and hate are very strong words. But what I love about what you just said is it's not about the millions and millions. It's about connecting with the few that get you and trust you and want to be there with you on the journey. And there's nothing more pure in the arts than when you've got that connection with the audience. And it becomes more than just that. It becomes whatever you want, you'll choose. For me, with my audience, it's like an extension. It's like really building towards being best friends. And it's something that I've always had conversations with people in the industry for years, like, why do you share this, or why do you connect that way? Because there's so much more that we don't know as radio DJs or performers. We don't truly, and we never will truly understand how a unique individual takes on our creations. So if they've given you time, I'm old school, you give it back. But we need to make sure we stay connected with those that give us time, because we can learn and grow from them. So anyway, a little passionate rant over there. I love that you said that, because it's not about chasing. There's enough people chasing the millions upon millions, but they're missing out on so many incredible connections along the way, because they're looking at a number and not a soul.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The Spotify artist app, I didn't know this until Jasper came out, till I got the app. It tells you how many people are listening to your song at this moment.
Trippy.
And the other night, it was just like sometimes it's the highest I've seen it is like 10 for me, and the lowest I've seen is 0, of course. But even when it's like one person, I'm like, wow, like one person is being affected by my music right now. And I just think that's like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's really exciting for
it's trippy, because for me, I want to dive into like, I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder how their day was. I wonder how this is making that feel. I wonder if so many offshoots of thoughts as my camera goes really out of focus. But
Oh yeah, you're trying to make it focus.
because I keep drinking tea, and it's like, how much do you want to drink? I'll tell you how much I want to drink. This much, and then we'll talk about it.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this. And this is one of the best interviews I've had. I love the questions you ask. I love how you get into stuff. It's really awesome.
Well, thanks, man. Well, I it's talk a lot. I talk a lot, but I also love to really dive into that detail. So I appreciate you sharing what you shared, because
I love to as well.
It all paints a picture, and that picture is what we're looking at, you. But we don't always know unless we ask. Anyway, I can finish drinking tea by myself, not holding you up. All right, we'll speak to you in a bit. Bye.